Hello, Raptors fans, and welcome back to Raptors Report. I'm your host, Julian, and today we're going to be talking about the Toronto Raptors drubbing of the Indiana Pacers. But before we do that, I want to talk about the two guys that have really brought the Toronto Raptors bench to life. And of course, I am talking about Sandro, Mamukelashvili, and Jamal Shead. So, along with Grady Dick, Mamu and Shead have the two highest plus-minuses on the team over the course of the season, with Mamu being a plus 6.3 on the team and Jamal Shead being a plus 4.5. So those are the two highest marks. Grady Dick is, I think at plus 7. Maybe we'll do a video on him later, but I want to concentrate on these two guys because from what I've seen, that really matches the eye test. I think that the team really pops when those two enter the game. The starters often get off to kind of a slow start. The other team usually kind of punches first, and then Mamu and Shead come in kind of with their Superman capes on, and everything starts to click. So I want to give a little bit of a profile on these two guys and give you an idea of why those two have been so important for the Raptors' success this season. And I think that a big part of this is the floor spacing that the two of these guys provide to the Toronto Raptors. So right off the bat, you just have to look at their three-point percentage. Mamu is just under 45% from three on 2.5 attempts a game. And Jamal Shead is shooting just a little bit worse, 43%, but on more attempts, almost 3 attempts per game. And those are obviously excellent marks to hit for role players who are, taking catch and shoot jump shots, which is the majority of the shots that those guys shoot, because the starters have a lot of guys who want the ball, who are, want to be able to create. And Jamal Shead and Sandro Mamukelashvili are providing the space for that creation. So they're on the perimeter, spacing it out and, being a consistent threat to hit threes from the perimeter. So those guys have a little bit more space to work with. And also they have their own traits as players. It's not only about the spacing because both of these guys are bringing a lot to the table. And I kind of wanted to break down what I've seen from them so far this season. So first off, we will start with Sandro Mamukelashvili. And he has been a revelation for the Toronto Raptors. Obviously, he was signed in the offseason. He was signed to the vet minimum, so he's only making $2.5 million this season, which is pretty insane value for what he is bringing to the table for the Raptors. He's playing 18 minutes per game off of the bench, which is, quite high, pretty much only behind Colin Murray-Boyles and Jamal Shead for minutes off of the bench. And at the vet minimum, you can't ask for much more. This guy is doing so much. And he's still a young player. The guy is only 26 years old. So this isn't some grizzled veteran that the Toronto Raptors are bringing, to help the team. This guy is in his prime and he's, could be here with the Raptors for a long period of time. Next season is a player option, which he will probably decline if he continues playing like this. But, I'm still pretty happy that the Toronto Raptors were able to grab this guy at such a bargain. Now, Mamu is shooting a career high from three at 44%. And you may look at that and say well, is this sustainable? Can he do this for a full season? Well, there's kind of a yes and no here. So I think it's a pretty good question. Is he sort of shooting an unsustainable percentage? But one of the things you have to note is that he is actually taking a lot fewer attempts per 36 minutes than he usually does. He's averaging just over 4 3-point attempts per 36 minutes. So last season, he was averaging over 8 3-point attempts. So he is sort of, being a little bit more guarded with his shot, not shooting it every time down, and really just kind of waiting until he is sufficiently open before he takes the shot. And the shot quality for both of these guys has been really good. The offense is generating a ton of open looks for the both of them, and they've been capitalizing. And when he isn't totally open, that's when Mamu's other skills start to show up. So he is a really good dribble drive player. He is a huge mismatch at the center position. So when he's on the floor, the Raptors have him playing the center. And if the other team wants to have a center on the floor, most of the time teams like to have bigs on the floor. He is a huge mismatch there because he has really good foot speed on his drives. He has an amazing first step for a big, and he can get all the way into the paint and finish with his pretty reliable handle. He can drive in straight lines to the basket, and he has a really good layup package and good touch. So I have been super, super impressed with sort of his level of athleticism with the ball in his hands and speed. Once he gets past his man, he can take it all the way to the rim. And another thing that really helps him out is that he is a lefty. So he shoots the ball with his left hand and he dribbles with his left hand. Like that's his most comfortable way of driving. And teams, just out of habit, and because he is a bench player, he's not as high on the scouting report, teams will often just close out to the wrong hand. They'll go to his right hand, and then, bada bing, bada boom, he is just into the paint. He is just driving right past them because they closed out to the wrong hand, and he can finish in there. But he can also drive with the right hand as well. Like, he's not completely limited. Like, he has a pretty deep bag for being a, 6'9", 6'10", big. And another thing that I think has really helped his game pop this season is the fact that the Toronto Raptors are an up-tempo, push the pace transition team. They like to get out in transition. They are one of the top teams in transition this season in terms of frequency and points scored. So that is a really big boon to his game just because of how fast he is in the open court. He can get up and down the court without the ball in his hands. And when he does have the ball in his hands, he can take it all the way to the rim and finish. I think that has been a huge part of his game, has just been being able to get the ball out in transition. So that has helped him quite a bit. And before we move on, I'll just add one more thing, is that he can post up too. So if they put a smaller player on him, he can take them into the post, and he's actually a pretty good passer out of the post too. So that's another element to his game. He's a pretty versatile offensive player. Now on the defensive end, it's more of a mixed bag because he wasn't known as a defender, and there are good things and bad things. So it's not all bad. So first of all, you just have to come out and say it. He's not a real center. So a lot of teams will have a true 7-foot big who is a rim protector and, the primary help defender, the guy who clears the paint and does all of that stuff. And Mamu is not really like that. He is like a stretch big who is undersized for the position. And if you were to hear that, you would say, oh, okay, he's just a complete liability on that end. And that is not the case. Outside of him not being a real center, I think he's a decent defender. There are so many stretch bigs in the league who are just total garbage, either on defense or on the boards or both sometimes. And he's not that way. He does try and play help defense. He does come over to contest shots. He does box out. He does try and grab boards. He is active on that end, and he is doing his best to pitch in and provide rim defense and do things that centers do. He's just not completely equipped to do it, if you catch my meaning. He's not big enough. He's not as strong as some of the other centers in the league. He's not a real center. But when Poeltl isn't in the game, the Raptors try and Voltron a center by combining Mamu and CMB and Scotty Barnes and Brandon Ingram in the front court. They try and add enough length and size and rebounding to kind of make a center. And while I wouldn't want this for a full game, I mean, we've seen what happens when you try and play that style for a full game. I think off of the bench, it's fine. It's just, I have not been upset watching that happen off of the bench. I think it helps, they're getting enough rim protection, enough rebounding that, kind of helps make up for Mamu's deficiencies when he's playing at the 5. So I don't think it's a huge problem long-term, as long as Jakob Poeltl stays healthy. So that's kind of, Mamu in a nutshell. Let's move on to Jamal Shead. Jamal Shead has been one of my favorite Raptors this season. And he was last season too, even when he wasn't as good as he is this season, because I have a soft spot in my heart for crafty guards. And obviously, the Charizard of the crafty guards is, in a Toronto Raptors jersey at least, is Kyle Lowry, who is just the king of, getting the most out of every possession and doing every little thing that he could to win a basketball game. And while, there have been some comparisons made on social media between the two players, Shead and Kyle Lowry, he's not at that level. But you can see why people are comparing the two, because he is, he does so many things on the court. He's trying to win the game every possession on defense and on offense. So he definitely fits the mold of a Kyle Lowry kind of archetype. Maybe not the same level as that player, but he's definitely in that same vein. Now, when he's on the floor, Jamal Shead is an ace passer. He really is an excellent passer. So Jamal Shead has one of the highest assist percentages in the league at 35%. So 30% of the made field goals when he's on the floor, he assists on, which is, a pretty impressive stat. He's averaging over 10 assists per 36 minutes. And yeah, he has just a lot of really great traits. Like his court mapping is excellent. He knows where everyone is on the court pretty much at all times when he has the ball in his hands. And that allows him to make high-level reads. So he will drive into the paint and then kick it out to the exact spot, like a player who is open, without having to telegraph that he's going to pass it. Like he'll pass over the shoulder. He'll make like a behind the back pass to players. He's done that multiple times this season. He is a really aware player. And then when you add on top of that, the accuracy that he has with his passes, he has a ton of passes behind the back, bounce passes, direct passes, post feeds, lobs. Like he has all of those things, and the accuracy with which he's able to make those passes very high level. And that is just awesome. I love that. I like having a true point guard on the team. I mean, Emmanuel quickly brings his own set of skills. I'm not going to denigrate him, but in terms of like pure point guard, like being able to make plays for other people, Jamal Shead is that kind of guy. So I love having that on the team. And the way that he does that is through the pick and roll. So he is very good at using screens to get into the paint and play make. He's a really good playmaker out of that play, and that's pretty much his bread and butter at the moment. He's pretty good in transition too, but generally the pick and roll is how he creates. He is a pretty good finisher if he can get all the way to the rim. He's a smaller player, so they usually don't shoot very well at the rim, but he's at about 64% at the rim this season on about 17% of his field goal attempts. He does need to improve his scoring package outside of that, so he has to work, I think, on a floater or a mid-range game because he is only shooting 21% on the 3 to 10 feet, and he does take quite a few of those shots, like the floaters and pull-ups in that range, and he does take around 20% of his field goal attempts in that range. So I think that he can improve. Like, I think that is where I would like to see him get better, is when he can't get all the way to the rim. I want him to have that sort of counter move, like a pull-up, floater, push shot, that kind of thing. That really helps smaller guards be able to score in the NBA. And he isn't really a scorer at this rate. Like, I've seen him attempt more off of the dribble threes this season. I think he's doing it a little bit more, but still over 80% of his three-point shots are assisted on. Because as I mentioned, like on the outset here, he's playing with other creators and they're asking him to space the floor. And his deficiency as a player coming out of college was his ability to shoot the ball, and question marks surrounding his ability to shoot the ball. So if he keeps it simple and, does the catch and shoot thing where another player finds him on the perimeter and he shoots it, listen, I'm totally fine with that at this point in his career. I think that, he's shooting 43% on from three, but just to keep in mind, like those are being created for him. So it's not like he's, a super high level scorer at this point, and that's totally fine. I really like what he's bringing to the table. On defense, I wouldn't say that Jamal Shead is like an elite point guard defender, but he is a good defender. He has really fast feet and a really good motor. As I mentioned, like he is trying to win the game, like every possession, one possession at a time, he is trying to make an impact. And that includes the defensive end. He's tenacious running around screens. And he learned this from Davion Mitchell, who was like the greatest of all time offensive foul drawer on screens, where he would identify when a screen was like too forceful or moving, and he would flop on the screen, like he'd go flying on that screen, really sell it. And if the screen is moving and it's too hard, like if it's a hip check, you force the official to call a foul. And Jamal Shead picked that up, and he is doing it at a really high rate. So he has drawn 11 offensive fouls on the season, and he's played in 13 games so far. So do the math. I mean, that's almost one a game. He's almost creating, like if you were to add that onto his steals, I mean, you probably should, because it is a turnover forced. He would be averaging almost 2 steals in 18 minutes per game. So this guy is like very disruptive. The downside, I think, like that he can't really make up for is that he is still a small player. He's like a 6 foot something, like 6'1" maybe player. And a lot of the time, if he's not fully attached or if you have to have him switch onto the perimeter, there can be issues there. He can have trouble bothering players' shots because, he isn't long enough to, contest the shot adequately. So there is an issue there, but, he makes up for it. I think that's pretty certain. Like, he is a very disruptive player. Gets his hands on a lot of loose balls, creates a lot of deflections, and then obviously drawing the offensive fouls, that's a huge thing too. So, I am more than satisfied with him on that end. In any case, that's just kind of an overview of what I've seen from those two players. I've really enjoyed what they brought to the table. And yeah, why don't we get into the player evaluations, because last night was just a complete whitewashing of the Indiana Pacers. And we'll start with the man of the match, the player of the game, undoubtedly Jakob Poeltl. Jakob Poeltl was like unstoppable in this game. It's not really a surprise. I mean, the Indiana Pacers are very small, and they're starting Tony Bradley. Tony Bradley is, a big player, 6'10", but he isn't good. Like, he's not a good player. And yeah, the Toronto Raptors just identified the key weakness of the Indiana Pacers, which was lack of size and, lack of interior rim protection. And they just kept setting up Jakob Poeltl. He was 8 of 9 from the field for 22 points. He was 6 of 14 from the free throw line, which is not good, but it just goes to show that the Pacers did not have an answer for him outside of intentionally fouling him. And they did do hack-a-yak in this game, and it was effective because he did miss a ton of free throws. He missed 8 free throws out of 14, so that's not good. But outside of that, he was dominant. Like, he was absolutely dominating the Pacers on the inside. He had a bunch of very nice finishes, a lot of them courtesy of Scotty Barnes and Emmanuel Quickley, just like a lot of really nice assists to Jakob Poeltl. When he had 2 feet in the paint and he caught the ball, it was either a foul or an automatic 2-point field goal. He was just like a monster. People call him Jakob Poeltl, and it was appropriate here because they couldn't stop him on the inside. And also the free throws, very reminiscent of Shaquille O'Neal, who was obviously not a very good free throw shooter in his career. And on defense, like, he was same old solid Poeltl, just in the right spot, putting his hands up, making it difficult around the basket. Yeah, just pretty easily. Like, in this game, it reminded me of the Tampa season when the Toronto Raptors were like running Aaron Baines and Alex Len and Gillespie and all of these guys who are no longer in the league at the center position, and they would just be getting absolutely beat down in the paint. Even the year after that, when they were a little better, when they didn't have like pre-Poeltl, they just got their asses handed to them over and over and over again on the boards and inside. And this was like the Toronto Raptors doing that to the Indiana Pacers, who don't have, competent center play. So, yep, Jakob Poeltl, player of the game. Next up, let's go to Brandon Ingram. Brandon Ingram had another, good night at the office. He had 19 points on 12 shots. He's still struggling with his 3-point shot a little bit. He was 0 of 2 from 3, but he was 7 of 9 from the free throw line. He had 5 rebounds, 2 assists, 3 steals, and 2 turnovers. And I want to talk about those steals because I've really been digging what Brandon Ingram is doing on defense. I gotta mention this every time. His perimeter defense isn't very good. His foot speed is slow, and he can't track players on the perimeter very well. But he is a good interior defender. Like, it's not even surprising anymore. The Raptors are using him really well in this regard, is that he adds rim defense consistently. He is in the paint with his arms up and arms out too, just like getting deflections and stopping players from scoring inside. And those long arm contests are bothering people. They bother people. It stops players from getting a clean look at the basket when they get into the paint. I think, like, it's hard for me to believe, because I thought that he would be like, kind of mediocre on defense, but he is bringing it, and he is doing a lot of stuff like 3 steals. I'm not surprised by that at all. I am really happy with what I've been seeing from him on the defensive end. I think that he is like really showing me something in the paint. I love that. And then on offense, like, it was just like, as I said, another night at the office. He did his thing. He would get to the mid-range, shoot a shot, or draw a foul. He was pretty efficient too. I'd like to see him get better from three, obviously, but that's going to wax and wane, and it obviously didn't matter too much this game. They handily defeated the Indiana Pacers. And he was a plus 15 on the game too, so. Next up, it's kind of a toss-up between RJ and Scotty. I'm going to give it to Scotty, and it might look a little bizarre because, RJ had a good scoring night, but I think in this game, Scotty Barnes was more impactful. So Scotty had 14 points on 7 shots. He was 0 of 2 from 3. He was actually shot only 43% from the field. He's 3 of 7 from the field, but he was 8 of 9 from the free throw line. He got inside early and often, and he was rewarded, sent to the line. He had 11 rebounds, 6 assists, a steal, like an insane block on Pascal Siakam. Just like will be a highlight reel block this season for him, and only 2 turnovers. And really good defense. Well, let me preface that. In the first half, he didn't look good at all. So he missed too many shots, and he was leaving Pascal Siakam open from 3. A little too much for my taste. Like, I know that he wants to help out, but he was the primary defender on Siakam. But then in the second half, it was a completely different story. He was just completely in control of the game. He was dictating the pace. He was getting up and down in transition, blocking shots, making plays on the ball, playing help defense. I thought he looked really good in the second half and setting the table for his teammates. Like, the 6 assists may not be like the highest of his career, but he was making really good reads. He was setting up Jakob Poeltl, especially those two in transition have like a really good thing going on. He had an amazing behind the back pass in transition to Poeltl, who was fouled. He was playing with a lot of joy and passion, and even though he didn't have a great start to the game, I think that he ended it pretty well. He was also the highest plus-minus player on the team with plus 17, and the team looked really good with him on the court. Next up, we'll go to RJ Barrett. RJ Barrett had a good offensive game. He kind of busted out of his slide on the offensive end. He had 22 points on 17 shots. He was 3 of 7 from 3, which is a very welcome sign. He was 1 of 4 from the free throw line, which is not what you want to see. He had 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 0 steals, 0 blocks, 1 turnover. So I think like a good game on the offensive end outside of the free throws. On defense, yeah, it wasn't a good game. He was leaving guys open quite a bit and just kind of like getting a little confused. I'll take it. I think that his scoring was really needed. He had a couple of momentum shifting 3-point shots. And he was a menace in transition. He got up and down the floor really well. But the defense, there were some issues. Last and probably least here, he didn't have a great game. I wouldn't say it was a disaster because he was doing a good job playmaking, was Emmanuel Quickley. Emmanuel Quickley's defense was pretty poor this game, especially in the first half. TJ McConnell and Andrew Nembhard were kind of taking advantage of him. So not a good defensive night. But on offense, it was pretty good. 12 points isn't very high, but it was pretty efficient. He was 5 of 10 from the field, 2 of 6 from 3, which is fine. And then the assists were good. So he was doing a good job running the pick and roll and setting up Jakob Poeltl. 7 assists was the high water mark in this game, and a lot of it just came from running that high pick and roll with Poeltl, which the Pacers just did not have an answer to. So, wasn't an amazing game, but you got to give him some credit. It wasn't like a complete disaster or anything like that. Off of the bench, we will go to, it's either Colin Murray-Boyles or Sandro Mamukelashvili. Let's give it to Colin Murray-Boyles because I think that he did like a really good job on defense. I think he was, a strong offensive player. So 10 points, that's great from a rookie. He was 4 of 6 from the field, 2 of 2 from the free throw line, 2 rebounds, 1 assist, 1 steal, and 1 turnover. Yeah, just like a solid game from him. I really like how mobile he is. He can get out on the perimeter. He can play inside. He has those nice long arms. He puts up resistance at the rim. And then he is an amazing finisher. Like, the guy has like magic hands. He can just, put it up and in. He's really good at ball fakes. He can get guys up in the air and then finish afterwards. He plays like a vet. Love to watch the guy play. I thought he was really good off of the bench. After that, we'll give it to Sandro. Sandro, as we mentioned at the beginning of this video, he had a strong game, 12 points on 5 of 9 shooting. He was 1 of 3 from 3, 1 of 2 from the free throw line. He had 4 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 steal, 1 block. Good all-around game. And he was part of that bench unit that came in after the first quarter. So the Raptors did struggle in the first quarter. The starters came out kind of limp yet again. Sandro and Shead came into the game, flipped it right around. He had like an amazing stretch in that first half where he was hitting threes and running the court and, you know, scoring inside on drives and all of that good stuff. All the stuff that we've talked about at the beginning of the video he showed in this game. And I thought he was pretty good on defense too. The Indiana Pacers don't have a ton of size. He had a really nice block in this game, just kind of skied and blocked. I think it was Bradley at the basket. So great job. Next up, you know, the guys who we talked about at the beginning of the video, we're going to talk about him again. Jamal Shead, thought he had another good game. He had 7 points on 3 of 6 shooting. He was 1 of 4 from 3, so not the most efficient 3-point shooting night. 4 assists and 2 steals. The guy is a spark plug. He plays the right way. All of that good stuff, all the stuff that I was talking about at the beginning of the video. He did a good job on Andrew Nembhard because, you know, quickly was struggling to guard Nembhard, and Jamal Shead came in and did a really good job of moving his feet and staying in front of him. And I think that that helped the Toronto Raptors, you know, kind of survive the early jitters because Pascal Siakam was playing really well. Andrew Nembhard was playing really well. Jamal Shead, his defense was definitely a welcome sign off of the bench. I really liked his game. Next up, I mean, Grady Dick, the plus-minus king of the Toronto Raptors. He has the highest plus-minus on the team. I thought he had a really good game outside of the shooting. So there's 2 things happening here. He had 8 points on 4 of 8 shooting. That sounds pretty good until you look at the 3-point shooting. It was 0 of 4 from 3. He was doing a really good job on the boards, playing with energy, getting out in transition. His ability to finish has improved considerably. He had a steal in this game, only 1 turnover, played 19 minutes, which is a lot. The Pacers don't really have a ton of guys who can super punish him on the perimeter. He was guarding TJ McConnell, did an okay job there. The Raptors basically switch everything when he is on the floor. When he is involved in any kind of action, they will send help over immediately and he'll switch out onto the perimeter. And it's kind of working out for them. I mean, like, it's not exactly the greatest thing. You don't want to see that. You don't want to see a player have to like force a switch, but the Raptors play so aggressively and like in motion quite a bit on defense that they're getting away with it. And if the other team isn't loaded with guys who are really good creators off of the dribble, you can kind of hide them. And they did a good job of that. And he has his own strengths on defense. Like, I don't know if it makes up for the fact that he has poor lateral foot speed, but he does do other stuff. Like the rebounding was definitely pretty good this game. His energy and, you know, he does do a good job of trying to contest shots when he's Xing out and doing all that stuff. So I think it was a good game. The thing I'm concerned about really is the shooting. Like, I know that shooting is a variable skill. It goes up, it goes down. Players go into cold spells, players come out of it. But I think that that is like his number 1 skill. Like, that's the skill that you want him to have. Like, that is the thing that the Toronto Raptors drafted him for. And it still hasn't, even in his 3rd year, really materialized and shown a lot of consistency, even over like larger time spans when the variance of 3-point shooting sort of goes like solidifies. There have been too many like droughts in his career where he can't make a 3. And then when you factor in the fact that he has to be stationary when shooting in order to shoot a high percentage, not looking too promising there. Last, we'll talk about Jacoby Walter. I just think he had a bad game. He played 15 minutes. He only scored 3 points, made 1 2-point shot and hit 1 free throw. He did have 3 steals, which is nice to see. That is one of the areas where I wanted him to be really strong, is being able to create turnovers. So he's pretty good there, but I need to see more from the guy. I'm willing to put up with some struggles. He's only in his 2nd year, but yeah, definitely want to see more from Jacoby Walter. In any case, that was the game. It was a pretty, you know, after the first quarter, it was kind of a walkover. Feel bad for Pascal Siakam and Andrew Nembhard. They are dealing with a lot of injuries right now. Aaron Nesmith, of course, their shooting guard, 3-and-D kind of shooting guard. He was out this game. He has a knee injury. He was a big part of their run. And their depth, when they were going to the finals, that was their strong suit. They had a lot of players who could come in and play. And unfortunately, they have so many injuries this season that even that strong depth is just not enough. And they're relying on guys who just really aren't, you know, starting caliber players to play alongside Pascal Siakam and Andrew Nembhard. Pascal Siakam was awesome. He had 30 points. He was 5 of 10 from 3. You couldn't ask for much better. And Andrew Nembhard, 22 points on 7 of 12 shooting. They were both awesome. So Yeah, I mean, this is where you got to get your wins. Like, this is a cellar dweller team. The Toronto Raptors have to kind of pick on these teams and get the wins where they can. Like them, the Wizards, and the Brooklyn Nets, they all still only have one win apiece. And the Toronto Raptors are playing a ton of them coming up. Like they just played the Pacers. They are going to be playing the Hornets, who are not quite as bad. They've got some players. Con Knippel is like a super rookie. He's looking amazing. Ryan Kalkbrenner, he's a big surprise. He was like a senior coming out. He was drafted in the second round, but he's been awesome for them. He's shooting 80% from the field, scoring 10 points per game. And he's a true C. Like he is like a big body. He's averaging 2.5 blocks in only 26 minutes a game, so he's been really good for them. And then, of course, they have LaMelo Ball, Miles Bridges. Sion James has been another pretty decent surprise for them. So they've got some talent. They're not as bad as the other teams. They've got some like younger vets on their teams who can help them win games. So that'll be an interesting game that the Raptors play. They probably should get the W because they're playing at home and they're on a run and they're playing really well. So I'm expecting them to win that game tomorrow at 7:30. In any case, that is the episode. Thank you for watching. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't already. That really helps with the algorithm. Hit the bell icon and you'll know when new videos go live. And also join the Discord. We got a lot of Raptors fans there talking Raptors basketball, and we'd love to have you there. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Raptors Report, your source for in-depth Raptors content.